Fireside Tales. Hello, I'm Merlin, Mililli. Welcome to my fireside, where I tell weird tales within tales. And I drink coffee. Drink coffee from my skull mug, because I'm a deadhead. So every week here at Fireside Tales, we discuss reincarnation. And I tell the story of the Grateful Dead because it's a story about reincarnation. Every week here at Fireside Tales, we discuss reincarnation. We also discuss the Akashic Records. It's a metaphysical library where every soul has a book. In your book is a record of who you've been, when you've been, where you've been. Your soul, anyway. So if you've been reincarnated, there's a record of it in the Akashic Records. I've been reincarnated strangely more times than most people. When I was a teenager, in a meditation with the High Priestess card from the Tarot deck, the High Priestess gave me a key to the Akashic Records. And I began going and looking at my book. I did notice that my book was a lot bigger and a lot dustier than everyone else's, it seemed. Strangely so. So I had always had this feeling within me that I'd been here before. So I began looking in my book quite regularly through meditation. And I say looking in my book because it's not really reading. I go to a certain section of my book, I touch it, and I have a memory. So in my book, each life has these different threads that connect one life to the next. One of these threads is fire, and fire safety. Fire was, in ancient times, of the utmost importance, and fire safety was even more important because, if you burnt everything that you owned down, then you didn't own anything anymore. So I also found that smudging, which is a practice that I still do before meditating. This is a smudge stick. It's dried sage wrapped in a bundle, and you burn it. Kind of like an incense. And then you want to cleanse your aura with it, with the smoke. So, anywho, and grounding is also a big thing. Now you want to do these things, smudging and grounding, before meditation, before astral travel, before readings. I read tarot and runes. Before rituals, if you want to get the most positive results from any of those things, meditation, ritual, readings, you want to smudge and ground before. So, like I said, smudging is cleansing your aura. Grounding is cleansing your insides. So, you want to blow all the negative out. And breathe in positive. And then breathe out positive. So you're breathing in and out positive energy. So I have a kettle of water on top of the fire. I also have a cup of water right there for my smudge stick. And I have a sprayer right around the corner in case things get out of hand. If you want to make your fire outside, you want to find a spot where there's no overhanging branches. You want to dig a little pit and make sure there's nothing growing in it. You want to line that with rocks. Then you want to get a bucket with water in it and a bucket with sand in it or dirt and a shovel. Then you can build a fire outside. Fire safety is of the utmost importance still to this day. Because if you burn everything you own down, you have nothing. Okay, so welcome to my season finale. Like I said, I'm a deadhead. And every week here at Fireside Tales, I tell the story of the Grateful Dead because it's a story about reincarnation. And we discuss reincarnation here at Fireside Tales. So I'm going to tell the story of the Grateful Dead, as it should be told by a deadhead near a fire. Once, long, long ago, there was a traveler. It was so long ago that she traveled by foot. And one day, while she was traveling along, she happened upon a little village. She got closer and noticed there was a crowd in the village. Got closer still and noticed that there was a crowd squabbling in the village. Then she got closer still and noticed that the crowd was squabbling quite literally over a dead body. There was a dead man laying there, and these villagers were arguing about who was going to pay his debts and who was going to bury him and who was going to pay for that. And the traveler just thought all of it was disrespectful to the dead man laying there. So she stopped the villagers and she said, I will pay his debts. I will pay for his burial. And so she did. She paid the dead man's debts. She paid for a proper burial. And she prayed over the dead man's body. Or grave, once it was properly there. Prayed over his grave. And she traveled on. And then one day, decades later, the traveler, from the beginning of the story, happens upon a life or death situation in which, out of nowhere, a stranger just swoops her up and saves her life. The traveler says, where did you come from? Thank you. Who are you? Why did you save my life? And the stranger simply says, I am the Grateful Dead. It's a story about reincarnation. Obviously, the dead man was dead. Then he was reborn in a little baby body, and he grew up and remembered the kindness of the traveler and wanted to repay her. Found her and repaid her, saved her life. Some people think it's a corpse at the end or a zombie, but corpses don't save lives. Zombies don't save lives. It's just not a thing. Buttons when I move. So, my book in the Akashic Records has a weird watermark. Everything before the watermark is in the BC period of human history. It's light, it's dry, it's sandy, and my lives in that part of the book are much longer. Then after the watermark, everything is in the AD period of human history. And everything is dark and wet and muddy. And my lives are much shorter. I think the watermark marks the Great Flood. And I think we had recorded history prior to the Great Flood, but the Great Flood wiped it out because it was all on papyrus. So another thread that links my lives together is that I've been a psychic medium throughout my lifetimes. Whether I knew it or not wasn't always apparent, but I was psychic whether I knew it or not. So as a psychic medium, I've been able to communicate with the spirit realm, and I do so regularly. And all the spirits say that reincarnation happens when a person has been murdered. All the spirits say this, and they've been saying it to me for years in this life, and I'm sure they told me about it in other lives. In our first season, I discussed each life in my book a little. In our second season, I went all the way back to the first life in my book, and I discussed just that first life. Now, we are wrapping up our third season, in which we have been discussing my second life in my book. I've told you this life was more of an afterlife. I started out as an archangel. Apparently, as an archangel, I was murdered. And I ended up a cloud bird for thousands of years. So, what I gather is that this had to be that part that's in the Bible where Lucifer is an archangel and then he tries to attack God and take over heaven and then he falls. So I think I was trying to defend God from Lucifer because I think I was an archangel because I was surrounded by other archangels. They were flanking me and we were all fighting for God. But in order to be up there, you had to be an archangel. So I could have only been attacked by another archangel, which makes me think this is that whole moment when Lucifer fell. So they didn't really know what to do with me as the first and only archangel who'd been murdered. So I ended up in this cloud bird state where I studied the galaxy and the movement of the stars and the planets and the constellations and the movement of the galaxy itself. And I spent a lot of time looking for my husband from my previous life, whom I didn't find. And then I did find my children from my previous life, and I communicated with them this information about the galaxy and the cosmos. And there's a big 10-4 in all this art, basically carvings and things carved into stone or of stone that mark the great year. The great year is, it's like 7,000 some odd years, and it's how long it takes the galaxy to move through all the constellations. And when we're in a certain constellation, humans seem to have marked this with, say, we're in Taurus. When we were in Taurus, they carved bulls. Humans, ancient humans. When we were in Aries, they carved rams. When we were in Pisces, they carved fish. And everyone says that, the fish carvings were about Jesus. And some of them may have been, but I think some of them were coincidentally marking Pisces, because at the time of Jesus was when we were in Pisces. Interesting that he was a fisherman and all that stuff correlated. But I brought this information to my children from my first life who were still living, and they seem to have brought it to all of humankind. So, something I didn't give them, and I only just figured out from studying this life or afterlife or whatever it was that selfless deeds are what gets us to heaven. And selfish deeds get you to hell. Selfless deeds raise your vibration. Selfish deeds lower your vibration. Therefore, the heaven, the hell thing. The whole concept is based on your vibration and where you get to vibrate in the multiverse with others who are vibrating like you. So, apparently you cannot use violence to defend God. And if you do, you are weakened and can be killed. Michael, the archangel, just stands there, still, like a brick wall, and takes hits for God. If you use love and not violence, you can't be killed. Love protects you. Obviously, I was not privy to this information, and I had to learn it the hard way. So, once one is murdered, once one is a murdered archangel, you can't just be born to anyone. They have to have a certain vibration. And the only ones, the powers that be, found to have a similar vibration to me, capable of raising me in a different body, was my children from my first life, who I'd been communicating with. So we had to wait until one of them was ready to have a baby. And then I came back as that baby. But it took like thousands of years for this to come about. So for thousands of years, I sat out there in the cosmos as a cloud bird, taking notes on the galaxy and how it worked. So I come back, obviously, to this plane, and my next life in my book is one that I took oaths to not discuss. So I might discuss it briefly in our first episode of our next season. So, season 4, episode 1, I might mention this weird life. It was thousands of years, though, so there's a lot of information there, but I'm really not at liberty to share said information. So, I'm probably just going to talk about it briefly in the first episode and then just move on to the next life, because I'm really not supposed to discuss this next one. And I can kind of see why it all went down that way, because of how this had never happened in heaven. This attempt to take over. At least not in this heaven. So it took a long time to figure it out. And it's still taking me a long time to figure out. I'm still working my way through these things. So if you are overwhelmed by some of the things that I say, or you're thinking that it's, too awesome for you to comprehend, I'm still comprehending all of it. So I understand. and that's why I repeat myself, kind of going through things slowly. So in case you missed something, I can kind of catch you up. I try not to make you have to watch every episode to understand what's going on. You can jump in the middle and catch up, and I kind of give you an overview of what we've discussed in other shows. So I got started on this season late, but I'm finishing up late. So I'm doing like half the episodes I normally would make in this season. But I think I'm going to shift to doing just 12 episodes per season. And I may shift to that for the love show as well. 23 is a lot, and I really don't have a lot of competition. There's no one else doing this, so I don't really have a outline for how you do this. So, I mean, I have an outline that I've made up, but it's not set in stone. I can change it because I made it up. So I'm changing it. I think as we get into the AD part of the book and my lives are shorter, I'm not going to have anything to discuss for 23 episodes. So I think I'm just going to condense it all. So we'll be back. I'm thinking of starting the love show recordings on Valentine's Day. I liked that. I make 2 shows. I make them kind of simultaneously because they're sort of linked together. As I make them, they get more linked together. So, who knows, they may become one show. I was thinking in my off time of making a daily show about nature and the mountain here and record my walks through the summer, like 1 walk a day. I walk in the woods like 4 times a day in the summer, so I thought I might make a show about nature. Nature is one of my threads. It connects me to each of my lives. Life is a natural thing. And yeah, so I'm thinking of starting, I'll be back in February with both of my shows, Fireside Tales and The Love Show. But I also am thinking of starting a new show that I might make over the summer. It's too difficult to record anything outside in the winter here because I live on Mount Shasta and it's just too snowy and too cold. And I tried to record things outside in the wintertime and my phone doesn't recognize my finger as a finger because it's too cold. So it doesn't work very well to try to record the winter, but the summer I think I might be able to pull off. So I'm not sure what I'll call it, but when I come up with that, look for my new show. No, Bear doesn't like that I don't have a name. Maybe I should come up with a name right here on the spot. Walking Bear. I used to use that as a little handle for my shaman work. And that's what I'm doing when I'm out there. I'm walking Bear. He's my dog. Bear. Dog. Bear. He thinks he's a bear. He thinks we're all bears, actually. I'm pretty sure. He thinks I'm a bear. He thinks my children are bears. He thinks we're all bears. But nonetheless, yeah, I think I'll call it Walking Bear. I had a little page on Facebook that was dedicated to my shaman work, and it was called Walking Bear. So that sounds like a nice title. I think we'll go with that. Oh, that was on an account that I had on Facebook that totally got hacked and deleted, and it's gone. So all of it's gone. The Walking Bear project, all my Merlin Mililli stuff, my music. I had a page for my music, and I had a page for the Love Show. I didn't have one for Fireside Tales. I might have had one for Fireside Tales, actually. I think I did. But that's all gone. I just decided to make a whole new page, profile, what have you, it isn't sliced up into all of those things. So it's just Merlin Mililli, and that's where I share Fireside Tales, I share the Love Show, I share my music, everything, my thoughts, funny posts and jokes and things like that. So look for me over the summer on Facebook and on Instagram and on X. I'm on all three. Merlin Mililli. Merlin. That's like the wizard. Merlin. Mililli. Mililli. I also have a website, merlinmililli.com. merlinmililli.com. And all of my music, all of my albums, I have 19 albums out. They're all available on the website. I'm going to start selling t-shirts and hats and jewelry on the website. I already sell my artwork, my paintings on the website. But I set up a shop when Wix first came about. And since I set up my shop to buy my paintings, they stole my idea, and now they want me to make my shop in their format. So I have to redo everything, all my pictures, all my everything. So I'm going to redo all my pictures of my art and put them in the boutique, and redo all my pictures of my jewelry and put them in the boutique, and redo all my albums, pictures of album cover or whatnot, and make those available in the boutique. And then I'm going to add hats and shirts. I've made hats. My little moniker is the top hat, but I've made 100% hemp hats. They're just ball caps, black ball caps, and they have a top hat drawn on them with my crescent moon. That's my brand, top hat with a crescent moon on it. So look for that. I'm also working on a new album. I've been writing all this time. So I got a late start on the season this year, and it's short because I had a mini stroke in August when I normally start both shows recording, and it just didn't happen for me. There was the writer's strike. I happen to be a writer. I was kind of standing with them and taking the time I needed to recover from my mini stroke. And it doesn't hurt to play guitar anymore. So I've been recording and playing guitar for you every week. I have been singing the song Deja Vu by David Crosby. And it's the only song I knew that was even remotely about reincarnation. I'm not sure all deja vu it happens in regard to reincarnation. I think some of it comes from our dreams. Some of it is like something you've seen in a prophetic dream. Like those instances where you see something happen in like chain reaction with people around you, and you've seen that chain reaction before. Those moments, I think, come from prophetic dreams. But when you go to a city that you've never been to in this life, and you know what's around the corner, or you know what that block looked like 100 years ago, or you know there used to be a bridge there. You just know things about the city. That is from reincarnation. That is deja vu from reincarnation. So I did write a song called Reincarnation, and I sang it a couple of times, and then David Crosby died. So I started singing Deja Vu again. So we've been singing Deja Vu. So I'm going to sing Deja Vu for you to wrap up the season and the episode. don't like regular picks. I use a strange pick. My pick is a piece of obsidian from the mountain. It's volcanic rock. I play rock. Okay. Okay, here we go. If I had ever been here before, I would probably know just what to do. Don't you? If I had ever been here before and another time around the wheel, I would probably know just how to deal with all of you. And I feel like I've been here before. Feel like I've been here before, and you know, it makes me wonder what's going on. Under the ground. Do you know? Don't you wonder? What's going on down under you? La da da, la da da, la da da da, la da da da. We have all been here before. 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 my best, but probably the best harmonica part I've ever pulled off. I told you someday I'd get it. I think today was my day. So I guess that's about it for me today and for the season. Thanks for watching. If you've only just started, keep watching. Go back, watch other episodes, watch The Love Show. I'll be back in February with new episodes. Watch for my new album. Watch for my new show, Walking Bear. It's going to be an everyday thing. And thanks for watching. If you've been watching, even if you just started, like I said, go back, watch some more, get caught up, because we're going to have new episodes of Fireside Tales and The Love Show coming in February. Check out my website or my Facebook page or my Instagram page or my X page. Thanks for watching. Have a weird and wonderful summer. Mililli Studios production.